Hey, welcome to the Business of Sales short form. I'm Morris Sims, and we just do this one every week because we think there's probably something that you'd like to learn that can be short and sweet and to the point and isn't going to take you 20 or 30 minutes to get through. So we're going to try and do all of this within, I don't know, 8 to 10 minutes, something like that. And today I'm trying something different. We're going to put this on YouTube as well as put it out as an audio podcast. But the whole question is this: what are you reading? What's the thing that's on your bedside table or in your Kindle that you're reading right now that is going to influence you in your work and your business? I'm not talking about the latest novel or the latest thriller, but rather what business books are you reading? And I realized also that a lot of the stuff that influenced me, folks don't necessarily know about nowadays. So I put together a whole pile of books here for you to take a look at, and just figured, what the heck? We just run them down real quick and give you kind of a bibliography of some great books that you might want to take a look at. And I'm just going to go at the top of the stack and see what we got here. First of all is The Greatest Salesman in the World. Now, I've got at least 2 copies of that. The Greatest Salesman of the World, Part 1, and The Greatest Salesman in the World, Part 2, by a gentleman named Og Mandino. Og probably was one of the most influential authors in my life, and it's made a heck of a difference to me. And just so that you can see, these are all the Og books that I've got that are in hard copy. That doesn't count the God only knows how many that are in my Kindle. They're just all over the place. From back in the same time frame, Norman Vincent Peale, The Power of Positive Thinking. There's some folks that want to take issue with this book. I can't find anything really to take issue on. It's good stuff. Read Norman Vincent Peale. Dale Carnegie, How to Win Friends and Influence People in the Digital Age. A little update from when Dale wrote it originally, but I'm telling you, anything that Dale Carnegie wrote is worth you taking the time to read. I know he's dead. I know it's been a long time since he wrote these things, but let me tell you, the principles and the concepts are still vitally important. Now, here's one that you know this guy and you know this book, Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill. Oh yeah, Morris, I read that a long time ago. You did. This is the Cliff Notes. This is the short version. Here's the long version of his book. It's called The Law of Success, or just actually Law of Success. And take a look at that. That book is huge. I'll admit it. I haven't been through it all. You can see I've been through some of it. But Law of Success, this is where Napoleon Hill takes everything that he taught you in Think and Grow Rich and goes down a bit deeper and bit stronger about everything that's out there. Stephen Covey. Oh, we lost a great guy when we lost Stephen. Wonderful book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. This is some of the best stuff you'll ever read. It's just really, really, really good. You know, think about, begin with the end in mind. Stop and sharpen the saw. I mean, it's just some really important stuff in there. Nir Eyal wrote this book called Indistractable. It's about focus and keeping the distractions out of your life. I haven't read it all, but what I did, I really, really liked a lot. Malcolm Gladwell's written a lot of neat books. The Outliers and Daniel Coyle, The Culture Code, will teach you why we practice and why we need to practice. And yeah, 10,000 hours is not necessarily going to make you an absolute expert just because you did something for 10,000 hours. But let me tell you, if you really practice properly, as they teach you to do, when you really get down into it, 10,000 hours, you can become a master. But you got to understand it and read either of those books and they'll teach you what you need to know. Daniel Pink, love his stuff. Drive is a great book about motivation and why we do what we do. Something very, very important. This one had a real effect on me. I can remember doing a couple of keynote speeches about this. It's called The Happiness Advantage by Sean Aker. The Happiness Advantage. Sean basically teaches us that when you become successful, you'll be happy is a myth. That's kind of a myth that we've all been taught. We've all been brought up to be, well, when you reach this goal, when you reach this objective, when you get here, then you're going to be happy. And when you're happy, you'll be successful. Or when you're successful, then you'll be happy. Sean shows you by research that it's actually the other way around. It's the happy people that become successful. It's the happy people that become successful. Now, this guy and this book also had a great influence on my life as a young, I don't know, executive, if you want to call it that, as a young person with several people reporting to him. I had to learn a lot, as we all do when we get into that management and leadership position. This gentleman is a dear friend of mine. His name is Tony Jerry. Tony wrote this book, Strategic Acceleration, and I still teach some of the concepts that Tony taught me in this book every day. Good stuff. Strategic Acceleration. Tony Jerry, great book. Here's another one that I love. It's from Angela Duckworth. It's called Grit, the Power of Passion and Persuasiveness. Well, Perseverance. The Power of Passion and Perseverance. Angela does a great job. Marvin Seligman was her professor, and the two of them did some great work in positive psychology, along with Sean Aker. He also was one of the people out there in the real world with positive psychology when it began. This one is how I make it through the day. It's called Getting Things Done with David Allen. That's his original book. He's written several since then, but I'm telling you, his basic philosophies will help you get things done. And by George's entrepreneurs and business people, isn't that really what we all have to do? We got to get things done. David will teach you how to do that. And finally, one that I just picked these off my bookshelf, and this one is one that I really love. It's from Cal Newport, and it's called Deep Work. Cal's a computer science professor, I think. And if I can get my hand off his name, that would help. Cal Newport, Deep Work. He basically helps us understand that if you don't get into the zone, if you will, and really get down deep and stay down long and get into things in a deep sort of a fashion, you're not necessarily going to be doing your best work. We do deep work when we can really focus and get involved with it. And that means not trying to do too many things all at the same time. You know, you've heard me say it 100 times, I'm sure. Multitasking is a myth. We really can't do more than one thing at a time. Our brain won't let us. What we do is jump real rapidly from one thing to the next. And when you do that, you can't do deep work. And deep work is where creativity is. Deep work is where you get things done. And it all comes back down to being organized and getting into that zone where you can do deep work. So there you go. There is a handful of books right strictly. I just pulled them off the shelf. You can see the shelf's in kind of a bit of disarray because I just grabbed these books thinking these are at least a small chunk of books that I thought might be of some use to somebody out there. So I wanted to share that with you today. Best wishes for you and for your company and for your business and for your family. I'm Morris Sims. This is the Business of Sales short form, and I hope to see you again next week on the Business of Sales. Have a great week. See you later.